was in my office shown.
Welcome everyone to the first ever Snappy Open House. Nick and I are here with the entire Snappy team, or the folks who are joining right now.
All the important ones, Daniel.
Exactly. Everyone who can't make it, not important. Makes sense. So Nick, what are we doing here?
So as Daniel said, this is the first ever Snappy Open House. I'm really excited about this. This is just a chance for everyone to sort of get their hands dirty with playing with Snappy. And so the team is here to answer any questions you have. We're going to have Leo and Federico who will be joining us in a moment, and they're just going to talk through how to test Snappy, how to install it on your device, and how to help us out in testing a new release. But since this is the first open house, we're also going to talk a little bit about what Snappy is, and I think the team is going to introduce themselves as well a little bit. So why don't we go ahead and Ricardo, why don't you introduce yourself, and everyone can say a little blurb about who they are and what they do on Snappy while we wait for Leo.
And maybe also if they need help anywhere, like Snappy is open source, people can get involved. So maybe mention that as well.
Yeah, sure. Hey, my name is Ricardo Salvetti. I'm the engineering manager of the Snappy core team. So I'm working I think for almost 2 months now since we actually built officially the team for Snappy, and it's pretty exciting working on technology with all these great guys and technologies that we're building. And you can we're trying to basically also help with this open house to get everyone a little bit more on touch with us. So feel free to join us on the public mailing list of SnapDevel, Snappy App Devel as well, on #Snappy on Freenode, and feel free to ping anyone directly that is available on this call anytime, and we'll be glad to help. We're still waiting other people the other folks from the team to join the hangout, but at least we should have most of the team in here. So that's it. Want to follow up? Oliver, you're known all across the board.
Am I? Yeah, so my name is Oliver Grabrach, or you know me as Ogra from IRC. And well, my job title is called Community Liaison, which well is very wishy-washy actually. I'm actually your go-to person if you have problems, and if you need tools, or I'm sitting down and trying to develop tools to make developer life easier. And yeah, I stole it from you, Daniel. I think Ricardo stole it from you because he assigned that to me. I'm currently caring for the Raspberry Pi images in my spare time, so we actually have them available for users, and I try to keep them as close to the BeagleBone ones that we have. And well, I think that's it for now for me. If you have questions, find me on IRC. I'm Ogra, and you can ask me anything. Should I nominate somebody or anything?
Just nominate one.
Okay, let me nominate Michael Vogt.
Hello. So, yeah, my name is Michael Vogt. I work as the technical lead in the Snappy team, and I work on it since before it was called Snappy even. Well, maybe that's a lie, but but since a very long time. Well, a very long time in Snappy terms, which is less than a year. But still, it's exciting stuff. I used to work on some sort of package management system since forever, and I really enjoy this kind of stuff. My primary focus on Snappy is the Snappy core system, the command and the system itself. So yeah, that's it from me. So if I can nominate someone, I will nominate Sergio to introduce himself because he just joined, and that seems like a good time.
Well, thanks a lot. So I'm Sergio. I just set up my lower half there, my lower third. That's just phone foundation still, so I didn't fix that. But I'm part of the Snappy core team as well. I work daily with MBO Chipaka, who's not here. Recently added all the other team, the other members of the team recently added to help us out. I work mostly with Okra with the core stuff mostly, just like MBO. I really enjoy it mostly because it's written in Go. But aside, I really enjoy the project, and I also deal with Ubuntu Device Flash that guy's on me, so if anyone has issues, and I know there are issues there, you can just feel free to ping me and ask me questions about it. And I don't know what else to say. And since I'm late, I don't know who to nominate, so feel free to nominate yourself, someone.
I'll go. My name is Michael Terry, or M. Terry on IRC. And mostly what I do is I work on Snapcraft, which hasn't actually been released yet, or hadn't had an official release, although there's a branch for it. And what it will do is let you easily make snaps out of existing code. I'm sure we'll have a fun blog post about that when we actually release it. And next I nominate Leo.
Hello, I'm also late, sorry, I was on the wrong channel. So my name is Leo Arias. I work on testing and automation along with Federico. I also do a lot of testing the tests. We prepared some quick guidelines of what we would like you to give a try on the wiki page. We will link to it soon. So if you are interested on that stuff, we are working on automating everything that you can possibly break on Snappy. That's a nice project that's starting, so we would appreciate a lot of hands in there. Just contact us. And I'm not sure who to nominate. Federico, have you introduced yourself?
Not yet.
Then go.
Hello. Thanks. Hello, my name is Federico Jimenez. I work as the other half of the QA part of the Snappy team. And well, Leo and me are writing and executing lots of tests, manual and automated ones, to make sure that Snappy, the work of the team gets to you in the better shape possible. Anything else for me?
Brilliant. I think that was everyone. Yeah, thanks a lot for the introductions. Before we get to Snappy, what it is there for and what we want to do here, if you guys who are watching this, if you're watching this through ubuntuonair.com, below the video feed there's a chat widget where you just enter your favorite nickname, and then you hit the join button, and then you can ask all the questions you have. Just make sure you prefix them with question in capital letters so we can more easily pick them up. Yeah, so yeah, Ricardo, what is Snappy? Why should people, some people might have heard about it, why should they care? What's new and what's happening?
Right, I think people that are probably involved with it kind of knows a little bit of what is Snappy and how we actually got in contact with here, but basically is a new way to actually show and demonstrate like the Ubuntu technologies and to build and to allow people and builders and so on to build products that exercise like different a certain amount of technologies. So, for example, instead of having the traditional apt-get and depackage and so on and so forth, you have like a minimum root file system that can be transactionally updated without crashing your system, and it can also, it's pretty cool. There's also technologies, for example, when you upgrade the root file system, you can roll back to the previous version in case it fails. And there's a new way of actually proposing how you can actually install applications, develop applications for Snappy that is not necessarily a Debian package, in a way that doesn't affect the system. So one good side of it, you have like a pretty small and minimal root file system. You can install like what we call the frameworks or applications and so on and so forth, which are kind of completely isolated from the rest of the system. Following up a pretty similar model, if you guys been involved with Ubuntu Touch for the phone. Most of the technologies around Snappy Ubuntu Core is around, like, it was basically built on top of what we actually created for the phone, and which is like but here's like, it's even like pushing it even a little bit further, which is the root file system itself is even smaller than we have for the phone. But then the concept of like the applications being confined and isolated and so on and so forth also applies in here. And also the same, a similar like upgrade mechanism for the image is also available for Snappy. So if you're running your system, you upgrade to the newer image, you download the image, it is applied locally, and after you reboot, you're ready clean on the next on the latest image, without needing to handle like calling up to get upgrade and so on and so forth. So it just is a seamless way to upgrade the system. And it is available both for, as you can see, as we're going to see like the instructions here, you can use it, for example, in KVM, but it's also like a good target for the cloud. For example, you could, like, as is a minimal system, you can simply boot the system and run, for example, Docker or something on the line and put like any cloud-specific application on top of it. And it's also like a great target for Internet of Things and like devices such as BeagleBone, Raspberry Pi, and so on and so forth. Because after you flash your basic image on it, you could develop in your own applications, make it available through the store, and then everybody benefits and can easily download. And also like a great thing as well on the ecosystem around Snappy, because we have the store, anyone can create an application and push directly to the store, and anyone can consume that. We don't need the traditional, like, first the Debian and Ubuntu model, where we have like someone that needs to sponsor the package and make the package available in the archive and so on and so forth. We actually push through a model that you bundle everything that you need on your own application, we make that available in the store, and like anyone can easily consume anytime after you publish it. So it's pretty cool as well, like from the development perspective. And which is why like it's super exciting. It's basically a new way to show the greatness of Ubuntu with like new ways on how to update the system, new ways on how to install the application, how to get the applications and develop applications as well around the system. It's kind of a short summary.
You were missing all the upgrade bits that make it so exciting for phones and desktops.
It is so exciting, but it's kind of hard to explain. Yeah, but feel free to do it.
Oh no, it's not so hard to explain. I mean, if you ever did a distro to distro release upgrade on your desktop, you know it can take hours. It will download all the single dep packages and will install them and even fall over because you had some weird PPA package somehow manually installed or whatever. And that can't happen with Snappy. It will take minutes to download the system image, and it will just get you onto the next version, and it won't fail. If it fails, it will just automatically roll back to the old version, and you don't have any problems. It's really, really awesome, and that makes it so exciting because the same applies to your apps, for example. If you have a Snap but has a new version, and something is wrong because the developer screwed it up, it will just fall back to the old version, and you will never have an outage. You will always be able to use your LibreOffice. You will always be able to run your Apache on your little server or whatever. So that's a big thing for me in Snappy. For the end
Yeah,
user.
no more like no more breaking the word after running an apt-get dist upgrade. You know that it will work, or at least if it fails, it reboots to a previous working condition. So yeah, that is awesome.
Excellent. Thanks, Ricardo, for giving us that nice background. So, as Ricardo said, hopefully everyone who's here has at least some understanding, or at least you do now, of what Snappy actually is. So we should give a little explanation of what this whole Snappy Open House concept is. So the idea is that Ricardo and team, these guys are being very iterative and releasing early, releasing often, and so Snappy is getting new lovely builds on a regular basis. And so our goal is to have one of these sort of open houses where you guys can come enjoy the new images. We can talk about new features, do testing, ask questions, and that sort of thing right before every release. So as part of that, you may have already seen some chatter this morning talking about the new images that are being built, and that's what we'll get to very, very shortly. Leia's going to give us a demonstration about how to test and how to get involved. But I just wanted to explain the whole process of what a Snappy Open House was and how we want to do this release testing. And on that note, Ricardo, is there anything new inside this version of Snappy that we should know about?
There's at this point, at least like for this release, we didn't landed like a lot of big features. We're mostly concerned about like bug fixing, and we have like a new kernel and a bunch of other minor annoyances that we fixed as well. Let me see here the milestone. We do have like a milestone for all the bugs that got fixed through for this release specifically, and you can find a little bit more information in there. But mostly fixing issues and make it even more stable than it was before. That was kind of the main goal, at least for this point. We do hope like to have newer features coming up on the future releases. Let me paste on the RC the link for the milestones, and you guys can see the bugs, for example, and a few other things that helps a lot during the development, like something that Augur included, for example, having the GDB server as part of the image was something that people was like asking quite a lot, and how they actually can debug, because the Snap system itself is a read-only file system, so you don't have that like the apt-get tool, like to help you and access you to install all the goodness that you have in the archive. So some of that pieces need to come like from the basic image, and also some like others that they can be like available elsewhere. They will be provided by normal snaps or even like frameworks. So there's also like some of there was some of the fixes that are important for the Azure as well, the Microsoft Azure, and to make it like even more reliable in there. And we also proposed like the proper fix when actually upgrading one image to the other, and how to actually generate the API armor cache and validate those caches and make sure that the cache is not invalid once you upgrade to newer releases. And we got a few other nice minor fixes in there, but those are basically the main changes. And we also did get a new kernel release from the kernel team, which include all the goodness that is available in there from the team itself. This is the stable release based on the series, as we say in here, is the 1504, which is the stable series that we release it for Snappy. So most of the development happens through the channel called the rolling edge. If you want to, for example, flash those images later for like adventures and actually want to test the latest and stable that we have, you can use the rolling edge, for example, which is currently based on the Wiley, and we actually plan to release the next big like stable series on 1604. So until 1604, we're going to be developing directly on the rolling edge, and also like every month doing the stable updates for 1504, doing the back parts of the bugs that or the new features that we land on rolling, and also like stable fixes that are required in bug fixes as well, as you guys might find once you start like exercising the images.
Awesome.
yeah, that also explains why these open houses and your involvement in testing is so super important. Basically, whenever there's a new release coming up, like this week, at least that's what's planned right now, we want to get together with loads of you and test things together. Take what's in the RC channel and make sure it's ready for release on stable towards the end of the week. Was that right, or do we have new channel names?
No, no, I was just linking. I wanted to, as Ricardo was pointing out, he mentioned some of the channels. So if you really, really want to see the unstable stuff, as he was talking about, you can find that channel guide and you can track the bleeding broken edge.
Right.
So
cool.
Yeah, even for us, it's pretty unstable. So only if you're really adventurous. And one thing though, like you can safely keep on the stable and working and finding bugs and helping us like getting those fixes, because one good thing about Snappy as well, like because the system is super isolated and minimal, and all the kind of the applications, they're all like bundling the entire like all the libraries and so on that they depend on their as part of the Snap itself of the application. And so we don't need to be like so concerned with features that are provided by the base system at the moment. So just feel free to keep using the stable, let us know about any issues that you might find, and keep working on cracking, uploading applications and make those available for everyone to use. That's the most exciting piece.
okay. So I see lots of wonderful questions in the IRC channel. If we can take just a couple more minutes, Leo is actually going to give us a little demonstration now and show how to install Snappy on a device and actually do some testing. And then I promise we'll get to you. We'll get to all of your questions. We'll start answering them. The team is here and they're happy to provide some authoritative answers. So, Leo.
Yeah. Hello. Well, a couple of things. First, excuse this quick demo because it's literally the image I got 5 minutes ago. So things might go wrong, but that's the idea. This is an experiment, and we would like you to try Snappy. This is our first open house, so what we intend is for the documentation to be clear enough for you to be able to get started testing it, writing snaps, or just playing around with your devices. So I'm going to link in the channel to some quick notes that we made. If you want to help, you can write down your name on the form that Balloons has created for us. That would be super nice and will help us a lot. But if you don't want to get registered, don't worry. Just give a try to the things. And what we suggest in there is for you to flash Snappy in any device you can. It could be a virtual machine, or it could be a BeagleBone or a Raspberry, and then follow the Snappy tour, follow the tutorials, the guides. There's a lot of pages on the developer.ubuntu.com that we want people to try. And I've made some comments in there in a cheat sheet. I will show my device, my screen. So 1 second. Okay, so in that link I gave you, there's a section called cheat sheet, and I've just done that here on my machine. So the first thing you need is the tools proposed PPA. That's the versions that match with the most recent Snappy image. So if you want to flash Snappy, you will have to use that PPA. And then there are some comments about how to get the image. In this case, I'm getting the image with version number -1, so that's the version from yesterday. So we can try an update. And well, once you have the image downloaded as explained on that page, you can start it on a KVM. Let me see. In here, you will see that the KVM shares your localhost address. So we need to redirect some ports like 80, the SSH port. And this one is nice, the port for WebDM. But well, you will see that on the page. No need to dig a lot in here. And once you run this KVM command, you will see this QEMU screen window, and you will be able to log in. And the user and the password are Ubuntu to start with. And here we are. This is Snappy. So if you do things like snappy list -b, you will see what your Snappy system has installed, and you will be able to install some more things like sudo snappy install. This will contact the Snappy store and will install a really simple example snap that we have in there. And once it's installed, you can run the binary that it has, which does just a simple hello world command. Okay, so one of the interesting things that I wanted to show you here is updates. So you can do sudo snappy update, and it will contact the system image servers. It will notice that I flashed the image from yesterday. We have a more recent image, and it will start downloading it. And after it's downloaded, you restart your system, and it's fully updated. It will take like forever in here. Meantime, we can take a look at one of the cool snaps that we have. That's called WebDM, and the same thing that we installed with sudo snappy install, we can do it from the web here. You will see the port 4200. That's the one I redirected on the KVM. This is a web server running on the virtual machine that's exposed, so you can access it from any browser, and you have access to the store through here. If you click on any of these install buttons, you will do exactly the same as sudo snappy install from the board. And that's what we want you to try today. Just get Snappy installed, get some snaps installed on the board, try WebDM and play with the guides, tutorials, and from there, well, there's a lot of things you can do. You can build your own snaps. There are some guides for that. Or you can play with the things that are on the store. So let me see here. The new version has been downloaded, so it tells me to reboot Snappy, and I'll get the new version, so I can do sudo reboot. It will take a little time booting again. Okay, here we are, Ubuntu. And now you will see that I have the latest version installed, but I've kept the previous version in here too. So in case this version is wrong or doesn't work for some of the things we want to do, you remember that we're testing here an unstable version. You can roll back to the previous one, and that's something you can try also today. It would be like sudo snappy rollback, and you pass the name of the package that you want to roll back to and the version, and reboot, and you will play with these transactional updates and rollbacks that we are developing.
Okay, awesome. And so I was trying to send you guys some links on IRC as well for anyone who's willing to try this and give us a check out Snappy today and try the latest image. I left a lovely URL. It's just a feedback form where you can talk about what you did and what you found, if anything broke, and that sort of thing. And feel free to, we'll end this hangout in probably another 30 minutes, but we'll be hanging around on IRC for some time after that. So if you find anything at any point, feel free to ping us on IRC, talk about it. We can help you confirm if you found an issue or help you file a bug, that sort of thing. But please do leave some feedback. Let us know what you did and how it worked out for you. At this point, I think we've got several questions that I think Daniel's ready and antsy to start listing them off, so Ricardo and the team can answer. So why don't you go ahead, Daniel?
Yeah, I just briefly wanted to say, like, if you're watching the, if you're not watching this right now, but later on YouTube, or if you're not on IRC right now, just go to wikiubuntu.com/snappy, and all the open house initiative, everything is listed there, so you should find all the links there as well. Right, moving on to the questions. First one from Booba Dooba. When is the Snappy personal image ready to download? AMD64. I don't think we have anyone from the Snappy personal folks here.
Yeah. You didn't invite Zap. Next time.
I asked him, but he said he was in a different call. But I know that
So there's no. I can probably talk for Sam about it. Hope he doesn't get mad. But there is no release yet, and he mentioned that he would announce it in the mailing list, in the Snappy Develop mailing list. I guess someone can post a link for that later. But if you want a preview, a very breaky, easy to break preview, you can use Ubuntu Device Flash instead of using Core. Just change that to personal, and it should build you a somewhat working image, which is still under heavy development.
Yeah, it's currently it boots only to the login manager and gets you a black screen if you start to log in.
Yeah.
I tested it a few days ago.
Right.
I have it running right now with the latest image, and it's the same. So don't expect too much from it.
Yeah, the next question is related to that. When do you think it will be ready for Ubuntu desktop, if applicable? Would you say that Snappy is ready for the desktop? Does it need any desktop-related features? Like you, as a Snappy team, is there anything you need to do to support the desktop?
Yeah, that's both. I mean, you have to teach Snappy to allow graphical output, because we are very restrictive with permissions for accessing devices and stuff. So that needs a little more love. Then, well, Snappy is probably ready for the desktop, but the desktop isn't ready for Snappy yet either. So both sides will need some tweaking and adjusting, or in both directions, to actually make it fully work. What you get now is a very experimental image, currently.
Just a quick follow-up comment. Snappy is just the management tool. The operating system is still Ubuntu Core or Personal or whatever comes. But we conflate everything into Snappy sometimes.
I think there's a question later on about that naming scheme.
Okay. Let's move on then. Another question from Booba Dooba. Is Snappy fit for gigabit home routers?
Definitely.
Isn't there talk of some network switches or something using Snappy?
Yeah, there are some out there already. I think Dell showed something, and there was something from another company, I can't remember the name, who are actually offering, well, that's more a telco switch where you switch mobile connections and stuff like that. That's more like high-end or professional stuff that you don't want to have at home, or most likely won't have at home because it's more expensive than your house or something.
But yeah,
So,
definitely.
but yeah, it's definitely ready for switches. So there are still snaps missing and frameworks missing for managing firewalls and stuff. But we'd be happy to hear from you and get snaps submitted, for example, for that.
Here's a question from Leafbold. Do you plan to have a possibility to mark official or verified Snap packages to allow users to differentiate between third parties?
Leave that to a store person, whom we don't have here. Sergio, how about you?
So maybe it's worth mentioning.
Oh yeah.
The Snappy is really strong about security, so there's a really strong isolation between applications. AppArmor rules, seccomp rules enforce this. So the importance of, you know, this is third party, this is an official build is less so than for maybe for other operating systems where this enforcement is less strong. There are plans in the store to change the way we handle forks. So there will be a process where developers can claim their namespace and they can claim, you know, we are the Apache Foundation, like we want the name Apache and so on. But that's not done yet.
Okay. TSI Monk 2 asked what is the delay on this Hangout? No idea. Lisa Moo
About
asked
3 minutes usually, isn't it?
It's always different.
All right.
But I guess up to 3, yeah. Yizamu asked, hey guys, are you planning to add support for Open vSwitch, ButterFS, LXD, and in Snappy itself, or shall I look into making framework with it?
I think LXD has a snap already, pretty experimental, but I think Stefan announced something on Google Plus recently. I'm not sure about ButterFS because we are pretty tied to our current partitioning schema. Don't know, probably Sergio wants to talk about that bit. Do we ever plan? No, he doesn't. Okay. Do we ever plan to support ButterFS? I'm not sure. We don't really use many file system features here. It's all on a higher level at the moment, so we don't really need ButterFS.
We can consider ButterFS once it's stable.
Yes, sure. No, but ext4 has proven to be rock solid and fast for us, so I don't think we require ButterFS. So if we ever want to support it, I'm not sure.
Okay. Just Castro asked, how straightforward is it to install Snappy on a normal x86 box, like say an Intel NUC?
Well, just DD it to a USB stick, boot, and be done. That's the answer.
Zanetti asked, I've managed to Snappify my project with services. Seems working so far. That project supports plugins. Can I don't know, like something got messed up in the document here.
And other people somehow publish plugins for my service.
Yes.
In the store.
Sorry.
So if you write a framework, your Snap as a framework, you can easily support plugins as long as you expose some sort of a service or something to talk to, which can hook into those plugins. But I don't think you can do plugins in the way like loading libraries and stuff like that.
Right, so Mike Zanetti, you did it all wrong. You should have built a framework snap, not an application snap, obviously.
It's a one-line change in most cases.
Right. Right, I'm joking. I'm not serious. It's all fine.
Good. Wubaduba also asked, will the Ubuntu phones use Snappy in the future? And the question is, when?
When? Once it's done. It's really hard to say. But there's work going on to do that. Right. We are using the Debian paradigm here once it's ready, you'll get it.
Kirofa asked, how do I enable I2C on the Raspberry Pi 2 using Ubuntu Core?
More pain point. The next image, the next stable image, the one that I'm currently not yet building, but will build tonight, will use Paolo's latest kernel changes, which enable I2C, but there are still issues with loading the device tree overlays for that. If you don't know what a device tree overlay is, you probably are not interested in hearing that. I'm still working on making device tree overlays work with our setup. That's very tricky because the Raspberry Pi enforces that to be loaded through the binary bootloader that we don't have access to. So it's a bit tricky to make that work or harder than on the BeagleBone to make that work on the Raspberry Pi. I will post instructions. The kernel side will be in the next image, but I can't promise that the device tree side will already work. But I will post instructions how to hack it at least.
Okay, excellent. Aleku asked, Snappy is used for naming so many things that it's starting to be difficult to understand from context. The OS that uses snap packages, the command line tool, the package format, and perhaps something else. Can we please start calling things using other names? For example, the OS would be Ubuntu Core instead of Snappy, etc. I'm not sure that's a question we can answer in the next couple of minutes.
Well, the answer is he just asked if we can call it by the proper names, and I can say yes, we can.
And we do. We usually don't call Ubuntu Core Snappy. We call it Ubuntu Core Snappy. So it's and Ubuntu Personal Snappy. Snappy is the system design. It is Snappy, but the flavor is Ubuntu Core or Ubuntu Personal, or will be Ubuntu Phone perhaps. Not sure if we have a special name for the phone later on. Once that's converged.
Yes, Pal asked, what about Java platform on Snappy? I think the answer to that is yes.
Yes is not a good question, or a good answer to what about.
Yeah.
There will be a lot about Java on Snappy. You can ship your own Java engine inside your Snap package and be done. That's about it.
Yeah, that's already the status quo on the phone. What's happening there? Okay, Solo asked, how does configuration files behave between updates?
I guess that's deb configuration files. So like the system ones. In most cases, if it's that, I could give a answer thinking about that, and we have some paths that are writable and some that are read-only. The read-only ones can change at will during the image build, and the image would do the right thing since it's a Delta upgrade and we don't have any live Debian post-install thing that we need to care about. It really doesn't matter. For the things that we put into a writable path, we need to guarantee compatibility backwards and forwards. So we can't once we make a configuration available for writing, we actually commit to keeping its stability. That's all I can answer about that.
Cool.
Well, there's another. If it's Snappy related, if it's Snappy configuration related, that's up to each developer to keep compatibility with whatever they're doing.
All right. Here was a question about defining your terminology when you say snap. I think that was related to something somebody else mentioned before, so probably going to skip that one. Pete Lawrence asked, what about official support of the Raspberry Pi 2? Will it come? I think that was answered on the mailing list and elsewhere already. The problem.
Oh, I can sum it up. Once there is full Raspberry Pi support in the mainline kernel of Linux, and full Raspberry Pi support in the DNX U-boot tree, then we can support it. Until then, as long as it has to use a separate kernel, we can't fully officially support it. That's the summary.
Adam asked, is there a doc like Snappy from scratch which we could learn the system level mechanism from? Also will help transplanting. If you go to developer.ubuntu.com/snappy, especially the guides section, there's loads and loads of good information that's also being updated while Snappy evolves. So have a look there. TSI Monk also asked if we have questions after this hangout. Is there an email we can use? Where do we go to get our questions answered? Yes. If you send a mail to snappy-devel@listsubuntu.com or snappy-app-devel, both are mailing lists, send your mails there, or on IRC, it's the #snappy channel on Freenode. And that's also where everyone is going to hang out after we finish this hangout. So ask your questions there and also get involved there. Sid Payton asked, will we be able to easily install and configure both via GUI server-side apps like email, cloud, contact, server? It would be brilliant if my parents, normal Joe, could easily do this and be more privacy aware.
Well, that's one of our big plans, indeed. Somebody needs to sit down and create snaps for that. I personally, for example, run a Dovecot server and a postfix server at home, and I would like to be able to just install a snap and have that promptly configured and set up on my whatever firewall machine or router or on a little server machine. That's definitely one of our targets here. There are not enough snaps yet for that, and I can only ask you guys, go ahead, build snaps and create that stuff for us. And if you have questions while creating it, come on IRC and ask, or on the mailing list that Daniel just promoted here.
Extending on what Ogre said, I just want to say that the core team is just worried about building a core that people can easily extend on, and maybe someone in Canonical or Ubuntu can create a better product out of it, like an end user product. But we're just, if we do that, it's just because we do it as our hobby. But in the day-to-day, we just want to build a big core. We're not, or it's not in our roadmap to build like an end product for end users. Personal is one of those projects that is trying to build something for end users.
Okay, sorry. We've got a few more questions. Oh, and they're still coming in a bit. We'll follow up with you guys on IRC as our time is coming to a close here for the video portion of the hangout. But don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We'll be hanging out on IRC, and
it's our office. That's our office.
That's right. You can always catch Ogre and the rest of us hanging out there. So in the interim, I just want to thank the Snappy team and Daniel for hanging out with us. Thank you to all of you guys for watching. If you're watching this later on YouTube, thanks for checking it out and taking a look and seeing what Snappy is. For those who are watching now live, again, please check out Snappy. Give us your feedback. Try installing it now. As Daniel said, if you go to wiki.ubuntu.com/snappy, inside you'll see a link there for the open house, and it will have all the little details that you need. There's a form. I'll paste it again inside the IRC channel that you can fill out, talking about what you did and how it worked or didn't work for you. And we'd love to hear how the guys worked out and how you found Snappy and how easily you found it was to install, and if you found any bugs and that sort of thing. Again, we appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Lots of great questions. Sorry we couldn't quite get to them all inside the video, but we will answer them on IRC. And again, thanks for watching, everyone, and thank you for the Snappy team for coming out. And we'll do this again. So if you did happen to miss this, do look for more regular open houses happening with each and every release.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone, and have fun at the second part of the open house. All the happy testing.
Indeed.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
And
Bye, guys.
don't hesitate. Just
Thanks.
ask us on IRC. We are there.
Excellent. All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.